So I kind of think that whoever commissioned Jason Brown to be Jason Brown at Independence Community College thought he was going to be their version of Bill Snyder at Kansas State. I want to talk about it with my buddy Ron after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today on my podcast, the RJ Young podcast, newly renamed because I'm barely into renaming stuff, I had my buddy Ron on to talk about Last Chance U Season 4, and I'm not necessarily going to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it. I am going to say that what follows is a segment of our conversation where we were talking about enrollment, and we're talking about how football affects not just community colleges, but colleges at large, and how I think the folks that are on the board of trustees at Independence Community College thought that in hiring Jason Brown after their first year, that they were going to get what Kansas State had with Bill Snyder. Just hear me out on this. I am a sports talk show host after all. All right, take a listen. Lots of different questions arise that I think are valuable, one of which I kind of want to get to off top. We agreed that the most interesting thing to come out of all of this was just how important football is to the community college that is Independence, and to that degree, how important it is to every college, but more at the junior college level. Because there was an interesting stat that was put out by the board of trustees, or one of the board of trustees. Mm-hmm. And she said, look, we got 370 beds that need to be filled in our residential dorms. And then, not too long ago, you saw a recruiter ask Jason Brown, how many kids you got out here? About 130-ish? It says 200. Oh, and they must love you at admissions. He's like, you damn right they do. Because you come to find out later, you're paying attention to this show, only 2 kids on that entire roster had full scholarships to play football. And most of those kids are leaving with a bill. Mm-hmm. Thousands of dollars bill. Bobby, right, who was a sentimental figure from last season and this season, wanted to know about getting his transcripts and also had a bill. Marquise King cut before the last game of the season, wants to know that if he leaves school now, are they going to bill him? Because that's how this school is surviving.
Right. Like this show is the storyline that is accompanying what they're putting on screen is that this is a revenue mill that I think that a lot of people don't realize that they touched on it a little bit in the show. They talked to some members of the community and some of the administration of the school and saying that, you know, we put so much money in this. We've cut the soccer team. There's no longer basketball. We don't play baseball. It's pretty much just football. And not only is it just football, it's kids that are coming in from out of state that are taking up, from their perspective, taking positions from kids that are within state, within the community. But they do that and they keep it going. They allow it because these kids they're for the most part, guaranteed money. They're taking out loans to come get here. They're paying for it. It keeps the school afloat, and I mean that's the point of business is to keep doing business, or at the very least, give your shareholders some growth numbers, and they're doing it. And that is a. So I said that this show is grim, and because we talked about a little bit about sadness, because this. When you gave this to me, you said, Ron, this is the recreational sadness stuff that you just, you snort up. I'm like, cool, let me watch this. And I do. And I came to realize that this show is not, the show is not sad. The show is grim. The word that went through my mind as I was watching it, as I'm making my way through it, is it's dystopic. And it's grim all the way around, in that this is how universities at large scale work. Maybe not just for football, but definitely for how you create revenue for students and eschewing your local for the region around it, or maybe even out of sea or overseas, and the margins that it takes to, or the margins that you have to beat to make it from the hood, the swamp, the mud, from a community college to maybe a better college, maybe for a shot at the NFL. And there's no light here. It's people trying, failing, and leaving a negative mark on the world. I'd say it's gross, but it's something that stuck with me that I didn't think was going to stick with me for a show that's ostensibly about trying to get the come up in football. Which who doesn't love football?
You and I have gone on at length about that, but I think you brought up a really good point, especially in relation to the kind of students that end up at Independence, not just in the football team, but let's assume that the majority of them are football players. 370 beds, 200 kids.
200 kids for a football team. That's a lot.
Right, because 100 is a lot.
Yeah.
100 is a lot. And a place like Oklahoma or even Oklahoma State, they could have that many because there are enough kids that would just show up wanting to wear the uniform and would sacrifice their bodies to the football gods just so they could say, I'm on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if they travel or not. They just want to say, I'm on the team. And usually there is some level of football acumen you have to display to make it out here. But number one, Jason Brown's going to take who he can get, and he's going to recruit so that you can have sacrificial lambs that want to go out there and sacrifice their bodies to the football gods. I also thought it was interesting that most of the kids do come from out of state. And I'm going, yeah, because y'all nailed it. The kids that can go to Independence who are from Kansas don't want to go to Independence.
Mm-mm.
They want to go almost anywhere else. And I don't blame them.
No, like this. The idea, the fact that they get 200 numbers, and Jason Brown said earlier in the show that whenever they first made it to Last Chance U for the first season of Independence, Kansas, he got emails and calls from over 4,000 potential players wanting to be there. So at this point, he has the pick of the litter, but he also has all the numbers that he could need to solidify his position at the university.
He does not have the pick of the litter.
Okay.
That's a point that I kind of want to beat into the ground just real quick, because he has what we both agreed is a very difficult group of children to oversee, even with the best intentions, right? So when we say pick of the litter, we have to say pick of, I really like this term actually, JUCO bounce backs, D1 bounce backs.
Okay,
I like that term. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it. It's cool. That's a different spin. Like, I would make fun of Kansas State's roster year in, year out. Bill Snyder calling him, Merlin and his merry band of JUCO rejects.
Oh.
But turns out, if Bill Snyder's coaching the team, y'all could be pretty good. But Bill Snyder ran his football team not unlike a tyrant. Difference is, he kind of knew what he was doing. And he took over a program not unlike Jason Brown did. It was crappy. It was crappy for a very long time. Dudes didn't even show up to class on Mondays because of the way that they got beat down the Saturday before. It was lawless. They didn't really care about football. And then Bill Snyder gave them a football team worth rooting for. Mm-hmm. And they were able to sustain that through a period of time. Be above average for like 30 years.
Right. C plus the B plus ball club. Right. With also, an occasional high.
And you will not be embarrassed by this football team.
Yeah.
And that was the big thing. We won't embarrass you. And I felt like there was somebody who decided to commission a turf field and lots of improvements for this football team because they thought Jason Brown was their 21st century Bill Snyder.